Hello, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel, and this is the weekly angel card reading for the week beginning 15th of August running through to the 19th of August. So what happens, in case you haven't seen one of my card readings before, is before I switched on the camera, I blessed the cards, shuffled them, cleared away old energies, and asked the angels to come through and guide me to choosing a card that's going to help us all. Everybody watching this video will be able to get something out of it. So now what I do is I shuffle, and the card that's right will either jump out or they'll tell me to stop shuffling, and then I will explain to you the meaning, and then I post it on social media each day as well, just to because I don't expect you to remember the whole week's worth. I think the reason I do these videos is because it's useful to see a pattern for the week, to know what's coming up and what we might be dealing with. So also, interestingly, by the time the day comes around, sometimes it's taken on a different meaning. So I'm shuffling now for Monday the 15th of August. Oh, here we go. Animals. This is one that comes up very, very seldom. Now for some of you have lost a pet recently, and the angels want you to know it's being looked after. So I know people have different theories about what happens when we die, when animals die, but I don't want to go too deeply into that, but I just want you to know that animals are absolutely cared for in the afterlife. So, and that's a message of peace. They're really wanting me to put emphasis on these doves here, which obviously means peace. So please don't worry about your pet. It's being looked after, and it's fine, and it's not in pain. So now there are some of you who are considering working with animals in your career, or considering some sort of transition to allow that, and that's a really good idea if that's what you're considering. The animals definitely need our help. And for some of you who are just considering getting a pet, it's a great idea. Do it. Do it. But even if none of those speak to you, maybe watch out for animals today. There might be one that calls for your attention in some way. It could be something like that, or it could be, you'll know. You'll know. It may mean nothing at all, but you know, it's always good to have a reminder to notice animals and to pay them attention. So I think I'll just leave that one up for your own interpretation. So, but a beautiful card to start the week with. So we're going into Tuesday now, the 16th of August. Got the biggest card deck I have here. Always slightly awkward to shuffle. Good thing is knowing that I can't get it wrong. It's always going to be the right card that comes up. Oh, here we go. The moon, Archangel Haniel. Archangel Haniel is an archangel that traditionally has been associated with not movements of the moon, but you know, in ancient times they used the new moon or the full moon to as a ritual, and still today I do meditations on the full moon about releasing. It's a good time for letting things go. New moon is a time for manifesting, and Archangel Haniel is a good person to call on to ask you for help with those rituals or meditations if you're you know, invested in those. If you're not, that doesn't matter, but what you want to think about with this card about the moon is about the power that the moon has. Don't forget, this is something that affects the tides. And our human bodies are made up of water largely, so it's no surprise that the moon can have a huge impact on us, and obviously women's cycles are affected by the moon. So if you're feeling extra emotional right now, or on Tuesday, that could be to do with the moon bringing an extra flood of emotions. And I don't know what's happening with the moon at this moment. Hopefully by the time I post this card on Tuesday, I'll look it up and find out. It might be, I think it could possibly be a new moon. But anyway, what you need to think about here is the way that the moon has power to have an influence on so many people and so many elements of the earth. And the message for you is that's symbolic of what you can do yourself. You also have the power to influence not necessarily other people, but certainly your own life and your own directions, and you can change course, change the tide at any time. So please don't feel like you're ever trapped. You have the opportunity here to improve your plans. That's what it says on the card. I don't know how well you can read that, but yeah, they're saying some of you are feeling like you're kind of powerless and you're just being almost like you're in a tide, you're being pulled along and you're at the mercy of the elements, and they want you to know that you have the ability to change the course, and they want to encourage you to get in the driver's seat, or maybe the sailor's seat. It's a better way to put it, since we're going with an ocean theme here, and yeah, it's really like they're wanting to push in this energy into to lift you up and really give you a boost to move along with what you want to do, and not to assume that you're trapped or just you're stuck going along with this job that you might not like anymore, or that in a home situation that isn't suiting you anymore. And that doesn't mean you have to leave those necessarily. It just might mean there's an opportunity within those situations for you to make changes that do put you in the driver's seat and do allow you to bring forth more of your personal power. So looking now at Wednesday 17th, yes, 17th of August. I have my calendar out today, normally I do. Okay, you're on the right path. So this it seems counterintuitive to what we had yesterday about changing plans, but this actually does support that, because sometimes when we make changes we doubt that we've made the right choice. So it's almost emphasizing this one here, saying that you're right to go ahead with those changes you were considering, and it doesn't have to be huge changes, by the way. Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing at all, just to wait and sit in acceptance of what you have. Of course, that doesn't mean you should let someone else be in charge of your life. You should always make sure that you're in charge, but sometimes acceptance is the place that you start from before you figure out where you're going to go next. So this really comes up a lot in personal readings. I do one-on-one with clients when they're considering making changes and they're just not sure. And this confirms that they are in fact on the right path. And the best way to know that is to trust your intuition. So no doubt your intuition is what's fueling this idea anyway, these things that you want to do, these plans. Perhaps you're moving, perhaps you're starting a new job within your company, a new role, taking on new responsibilities, and this is really good confirmation. But you can also ask for a sign if you're unsure. It's best not to specify what that sign is. I know there are some spiritual teachers who suggest that you concentrate on an animal or something and wait for that animal to appear in some form. I personally don't advocate that, and I'm not an expert. I don't pretend to be at any point, but what I have found, I can only speak to my own experience, I've found it's best to leave it up to the angels. So some of the things that they do typically use, this is not an exhaustive list by any means, is they leave feathers. So if you're walking through a park and there are a lot of birds around, yes, you're going to find feathers. That's not a sign. So it's a feather that's somewhere unexpected. Like I found one in my bathroom. There aren't really any birds around here, or there are, but they're not near my bathroom. So finding coins unexpectedly, not in your wallet, obviously. Although, if I find coins in my wallet, frankly, that's a bonus, because I generally don't have a lot of money. Rainbows, specific cloud formations, and if you Google, you can see a lot of really amazing angel-shaped clouds that have formed. What else? Music lyrics. Music's a big one. Music's hugely significant. Not only, there's a lot of research that tells us how music can help us motivate ourselves to do more housework, to do a better workout at the gym or whatever it is, but music also can speak to us. It can be a way that our intuition speaks to us. So particularly if it's a song you haven't heard for a long time, there's no excuse me, there's no apparent reason for it to be on right now, and you just happen to hear it in a shop or something, and it might be a line that jumps out at you, so that can be a sign as well. But there's all sorts of unconventional signs, and you have to just trust your intuition on them. But I find that's a really good thing to do if you are just doubting that the messages that you've heard are right. So we're going into Thursday now, the 18th of August. Clear cognizance. I wish I could just repeat what I just said. So this is about thoughts and ideas that come to you. So this is not about sound. So the music thing I was talking about is not what this card specifically is speaking to, although that doesn't mean if you hear messages from music, that doesn't mean they're invalid, but it just means that this card, they're asking you to pay attention to thoughts and ideas, their concepts, you know, inspiration, things that just pop into your head. I'm a writer. My good story ideas, the way I angle a story, that doesn't come from me. It comes from my intuition. That's what creativity is. It's what imagination is. So you can totally trust that. Is what makes any of us good at what we do. And the people who've really harnessed that are the ones who are successful, and they may not realize that that's where it's coming from. Sometimes ego likes to tell us that it's us, but it's not. So I don't believe that. Although obviously you're contributing, it's certainly the ideas that I get are filtered through my own personal experience and my own language and my own kind of, I guess, patterns. So that plays a part as well. I see it as a partnership. So gone off on a bit of a tangent, not unexpected with me. So this is just really pretty simple. Just pay attention to the ideas you get. They've got the germ of something pretty cool within them. Even though the idea might not be fully developed yet, just sit with it. Friday. You know, I'm in Australia, so here in the Southern Hemisphere we're coming into spring, and it's a time of rebirth and regeneration. So it's a really exciting time to start new things, if that's what you're thinking about. Giving and receiving. Interesting, I just talked about being in Australia. This has got a very Australian pattern to it, this card. I'm not quite sure exactly why, because the cards were created by the wonderful Doreen Virtue, who I'd learnt to read cards from at 2 workshops, and she's not Australian, she's American. But anyway, so here we have a rainbow lorikeet and a kangaroo on this. The card's about giving and receiving. Excuse me, I'm really having trouble clearing my throat today. Might be throat chakra issues going on. Anyway, giving and receiving. So a lot of us are really, really good at giving love, but not so good at receiving it. So there are degrees of this, and the example I always give is of compliments. You know, if you're just brushing off compliments and they come to you, you've got a problem with receiving, because you're entitled to receive. It's not arrogant to accept and be grateful for kind words. It's just polite, and it's wonderful. You know, we're here to give and receive, and there needs to be a balance in a good harmonious relationship. So there's also, I talk about this a lot, when you've got a friend who's completely taking the piss, ringing you, dumping their problems on you, but not there for you when you've got yours, not listening to you. That's a person who is all about the receiving and not giving, and you are giving to them, and they're not giving you anything back. That is an unhealthy relationship right there. So there needs to be a balance, and that's not going to, you're not going to strike that balance all of the time. But in terms of your relationship, that's something, all of your relationships, family, primary relationship with your spouse, partner, and with your children, even with your friends. So just going through this to see, they want to emphasize how much it's important for you to be giving and receiving love yourself. So looking after yourself with self-love, not just pampering, although that can certainly be part of it, but making sure you're giving yourself the rest, the healthy food, the what's the word I'm looking for? The time off work, the time for you. You need to be able to give that to yourself and to let yourself receive it without feeling guilt, ideally. So hopefully that all makes sense to you. Yeah, just try and understand that's about a cycle, and it's really important to stay in flow. You can't give, you'll exhaust yourself and there'll be nothing left. You need to be able to receive as well. And it's all about filling your own cup as well first, which is, you know, something we talk about a lot in the spiritual world. So we started the week with animals. We've got a bit of a pattern here in terms of starting new ideas, maybe just being open to them first of all, and then looking to receive them, not receive them, but to action them later on. But they really want you to trust those ideas, and that's where that whole you're on the right path comes from. And I know it's a really difficult thing to do. It's something I still struggle with, even though I work with my intuition all the time. There's still times when I'm just really, really not sure if what I'm understanding, what I'm hearing is correct, and that's when I ask for a sign. So I was just going to add that even though I work with my intuition all the time, and I do still struggle with this stuff, that's not a reason to be discouraged. It's not meant to be easy. We're in a world where we're taught that following this pattern that's been handed down to us of, you know, earn lots of money, buy a house, be in a long-term relationship is the model, have children. And we're not really encouraged to think for ourselves and to go our own way. So it's when we're locked into following along what other people are doing and caring what other people think of us, which is just an absolute road to nowhere. And it's really hard to step out of that and just listen to what you need to do, and to have the courage to follow it as well. So even if you're you know, good at listening, you need to have the courage to follow that advice as well, that guidance. And don't despair if you struggle with it, because I'm still struggling and I always will. I've got my whole life to figure this out. You know, it's not supposed to be easy. There's always going to be challenges when you doubt, and that's just part of your soul's journey. So time of renewal coming through as well here, but really if you're not quite ready to make changes, they just want you to be open to it at this stage and to start listening to those ideas. But it's an exciting time coming up, so be thinking about that. And animals, I've got a feeling some of you really, really needed that one. And the giving and receiving, which is a lovely way to lead into the weekend. So that's what we've got for the week. I'm going to put these on Instagram every day and on my Facebook page. It's at One Grounded Angel. And you can look at my blog, www.onegroundedangel.com, if you have any questions, if you want to know more about what I do, you want to book a reading, and you can read some of my blog posts there about things spiritual and sometimes just about personal development and musings about life. You know how to find me. There's a link on the contact form if you want to get in touch and give me any feedback, or if there's anything that doesn't make sense from this reading. Thanks so much for your attention and for your love and support. I send it all back to you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Have a fantastic week, and I look forward to reading for you again next weekend. Take care. Bye.